see them go my bitlek. Lo my fella di jong ba tshwana. Ba rata o kenya menwana dilo. Don't worry ntho tse ba di etsa ka bomo no di tlo ke mano. Suckers ba go bona matlong. Never see them go my bitlek ba blow my fella di jong ba tshwana. Ba rata o kenya menwana dilo. And don't worry ntho tse ba di etsa ka bomo no di tlo ke mano.
This is merch. Your rappers would call this merch.
What this really means is that if I have 1,000 black farmers producing for me, then I don't have to do this anymore. Then they can just supply me. All I need to do is this. Because what I'm selling is a brand, not food. Yes.
You were saying earlier on, and I'd like to touch on this subject now because we're dealing with the finished product.
Yeah.
How lucrative is it? I remember you made a statistic about once every 10 years you'll see a profit.
Yeah, you know, it's not as easy as that. For instance, farming is obviously, farming has to be the most profitable business in the world because you are actually...
You're feeding the world.
Yes, you actually have a market of 7 billion people every day, eating 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all about where, in which part of the value chain you are. That means you must make money. For instance, if you are planting maize and you are just selling it off to NWK or Sandvest, which are the big corporations, then you probably will not make so much money. But if you were to build your own mill and mill that maize into pap and put it into a momulimi pap, then I'll make money.
I got you.
It's just in how you work in it.
I got you.
Yeah. So basically, you really have to have a better knowledge of how it works. It's not as easy as just working the land and making money.
I get you.
Yes.
You must be involved in every step of it being
the value
to
chain.
the shop. Yeah.
Yes.
I get you.
Yeah.
And is there a close network of I wouldn't say black farmers, more importantly for me it's young black farmers.
Yeah.
Is there a close network with you guys, or is it really like starting off now?
Look, it's been starting off for as long as I've been farming, you know. But it has not really yielded any results. We have not really able to build like a super cooperative of, you know, black young farmers working together. And I think just the nature of cooperatives, we have not mastered it as black business people.
Sure.
You know, you see how like Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi tuck shop cooperatives are muscling us out of the villages and the townships. Yeah, we have not really developed. And people say it's because of our personality, we don't like each other. But the reality is that apartheid denied our people the opportunity to do business for close to 100 years. We've actually missed out 2-3 generations.
How much can you learn in 100 years?
Exactly, you know. So we still have to learn to do business.
I think everybody has this notion that the moment you just get land, it means you're rich, you're gonna make money, you're gonna start seeing your wealth. No one ever thinks about the work and the natural dependency of weather and all that stuff. But I remember you talking about the financial risks that you take and sometimes the losses that you encounter. So, like in a lifespan of a year, can you start seeing profits as a farmer? Like, how long does it take for you to start seeing that, oh no, I'm doing the right thing here?
I think to answer your question, commercial agriculture in developed countries like in Europe and America, maybe in Australia and so on, is heavily subsidized. You know, almost 50% or even more of what their import is subsidized by government, meaning it's a grant. Simply because of the nature of the business. Strictly from your pocket, it's impossible to make money.
You lie.
You find out that it's very difficult to make a profit from year in, year out. Like I was explaining to you with the sunflower, you know. Last year there was a drought. By January when I started planting my sunflower, the prices were over 6,000 rands a ton. You know, it's hardly a month later. It's around about 4,000. It's about 4,200.
So even if you have a good crop, even if you sell them right now, you've made a loss.
Yes, I've already made a loss. You know, at this point. And you must remember, I still need to harvest. I'm going to pay the harvester who's going to cut. I must transport. You know where you guys were in Sunnyside, that side. Yeah, I must transport the grain all the way there. To, it's diesel and all that. and I still pay my labor. And
That's why slavery was such a big thing, because there's no way these families and these people could have had money without having this cheap
free labor. Yes.
No ways.
Even apartheid.
Yeah, it was a big thing.
Cheap labor.
In terms of subsidizing,
yes,
you should know more about this, especially for our country and our terrain.
Yeah.
Does the government do much to subsidize?
Yeah, look, the issue of
Is
land.
there a subsidizing plan?
Look,
program?
The government is already doing a lot for developing farmers. You know, the ANC government already has bought a lot of land that it has transferred to black farmers. And over and above moving black farmers on the land, it has to capitalize them, give them the equipment, the money, and the skills to work, which is actually worth way more than the land itself. And sometimes just the project management of it goes wrong, and then the whole land distribution thing fails. But it's an expensive exercise. This is why actually the government is not so keen on just moving in and taking land, because it is already land that it is not a simple business. It is already struggling with what it's doing.
Do you feel like maybe people sometimes might have the wrong compass in wanting land to make a profit? Because if you look back in the day and why we had land and why we owned it and how we used it, it wasn't really to monetize it and become a business venture. It was because just have your piece of land, plant whatever you need to plant, and whatever you eat, graze your cattle, and it will be sufficient for you and your family. Do you think maybe instead of thinking enterprise and market share, maybe we should be thinking sustaining firstly your family and yourself, and that's how you learn how to work land?
You see, we'll have to go back to the notion of, firstly, who taught black people how to plant a lawn and flowers? How do we do those things? You know, those little places where we live in our townhouses, in our township yards, why did we stop planting food? You know, when I traveled there in Malawi and everywhere people plant food. When you step out the house, it's food. Why did we stop doing that? You know, so that consciousness actually, it begins there. You know, you can actually plant food right on top of your roof. Put tires there, put soil on them, and produce food. Yes. So if we are not doing that already in where we are staying, why are we going to do it in 1,000 hectare land? You know?
The basic thing is stop thinking money and start thinking sustainability for yourself. Like motherfuckers mustn't want to plant because they want to be on the cover of Time magazine. They must plant because they want to feed.
I mean, because food security, it's at the paramount most important thing in the world. If we don't have food, like, forget about technology and anything else. You know what I mean?
Sure, like, for real.
Yes. Making sure that people have a plate of food. I was just watching on Al Jazeera a day or two ago, and they were saying there's actually about 20 million people who are actually food insecure right now. In Yemen, in Somalia, in South Sudan, and northern Kenya where there's a drought, I think in Chad. And mainly these areas where there's conflict, like northeast Nigeria and so on. You know, we're talking about 20 million people who might just drop dead tomorrow. You know,
you must try to supply them.
Do you see what I'm saying? You know, so we're always getting these random orders, like they want 20,000 tons of maize. Are you getting orders from that side? I don't know who supplies these things because they don't get to us. Look, people don't understand when we say apartheid is still very much alive. They think we just are trying to being sentimental and sensationalizing this whole thing and making excuses for the ANC government. Apartheid, from an economic point of view, is very much alive. We, as the black people in this country, we are in control of nothing at all. You know, if they were to say we want 20 million tons of beans in northern Nigeria tomorrow, which black people are going to supply it?
Nobody.
No one. Their whole business is still going to white people. If in January at the opening of Parliament, I know we remember just the fight, people beating each other up, but actually the president said something like China will be buying 20 million tons of beef from South Africa for the next 10 years. Actually, 20 million tons of beef.
So someone's just counting that paper.
Yeah, who's going to be supplying that beef? Is it us?
No.
No, we don't have that beef. You see? So this goes hand in hand with the land.
Thank you so much.
Careful, that salsa is very hot.
Okay, cool.
We need more education. We need to be better prepared for the future. We need to make sure that even if we're struggling today, we're in a better place tomorrow. You know.
Your father must be so proud.
We struggle together. We've been struggling together for forever, and that's what farming families do. You know. Yeah. I think.
But I mean,
soccer families
never mind the
do
struggle. Just in terms of having your son,
yeah,
who was into a Western sort of
yes
culture and
yes.
music,
yes,
and then having him do a full 360,
yes,
or 180,
yes,
and coming back to his roots, literally and figuratively.
Yes.
He must be. Do you guys talk about it? Like, what does he say to you?
Yeah, you know, you can imagine how it was in my earlier years when you like, dude, are you confused? Like, what are you doing? Are you rapping or are you farming? Like, what are you doing? I was like, no, Pops, like, just wait. It don't make sense, you know? And until one day when he picked us up, I was like, you see what we were doing here? We're actually doing something that I consider to be a competitive edge over everybody who's farming around here.
That's true.
We have
Did he name you Momolemi?
No, I did.
Yeah, just
you know. No, you know what? When I was still part of Marafi, I was just Mr. Mo. So, and you know, Marafi, of course, released the album, and I was working on the farms here, you know. So Jabba really came around here often every 2 months. Dude, you need to release this album. I was like, okay, I'll do it. So when I went to go back, like, who am I going to call myself?
You know food is dope when it's cold.
The cold food.
It's still dope. But it's still the one. Nah, man, that's amazing. And then the branding, I see you got Buck Wild.
Yeah.
Momolemi Buck Wild.
Yeah. And I put up my lyrics on the back.
And the lyrics.
Yeah, just my rhymes though.
That's incredible. I didn't check that one out. Please explain it to me.
That's one of my dope tracks though. It's just you know, God has been watching me the whole time while I've been on this journey of unknown, you know. And he says, just keep at it. Everything will come alright, you know. So this was on my first album all those years ago, and we're still at it. Every time we need to go back and says, you know, we're still on the right track, you know.
I think the Buck Wild is crazy because obviously you're a farmer, but
yes.
Buck Wild in the
it's hip hop. Yeah.
So how did you tie it in with your packaging and just your brand?
You know, the name of the farm is Bakam Farm. So I just cut the back from there and then the back wild.
Yeah.
So
okay, cool.
So that's where I got it. That's where I got it from. You know, but every time I think about what I'm trying to achieve, because in reality I need a warehouse with machinery and everything pumping and trucks, and you know, every time I look at this thing, I like, you know, take for instance McCain. McCain was founded in 1958 in Canada. I'm trying to compete with them now. You know, how long will it take for me to get there? We're trying to build supermarkets. Ackerman first bought Pick and Pay in 1968.
Dog.
You know, we cannot start overnight. I'm always looking at Boo and with this of bread and Zo and like, you know, 30 years from now, this what Do is doing will be like all over Africa. Yeah. And we'll be like, wow, remember this guy when he's still pushing this yeah, and nobody will even remember what Boo looks like, but Mo Fire was probably outlive him. Yes. And I said, big up to it. It gives me courage to say, like, I must push back wild. I must keep at it because I know it will outlive me, you know. And that's the difference between this and the music. I know this 300 years from now, nobody will remember Momolemi the rapper, but they'll still eat the food.
No doubt.
That's my legacy.
Never see them go my big blow my fella di jomba twana barata Kenya menana dilo don't worry
There you have it, Banbagoti, from the mouth of the Bakang farm leader Momolemi. I mean, he told you how important it is for us to not only get the land but be educated in how to work the land. And not only that, we might get the vegetation from the land, but we need to be involved in every step of this vegetation getting out there as a finished product. Government, we need your grants, we need your help. And for you people, I don't think you should consider farming as a lucrative money-making scheme. Just consider farming as a point where you can just feed your family. That's all you gotta do. It's not only to be commercially viable, it's just to be sustainable as a people, as a family, as a unit. So thank you so much for everything, Palladium. We're starting from the bottom up and we're going out there to you via Slick On Life. The person who's your audio chaperone is, of course, Usiabawang Wegazi. You know me as Scoop Makhathini. Dimkile. See you again next time.
What's up, Antoana? We out to get our own. And about banking, just go out, I got one, Charlie. Get our money, go